everybody. Today I'm going to teach you how to tan a raccoon. This guy just got it out the other day, threw it in the freezer for a while, and now I'm going to start with the first part of the process, which is fleshing it. This is not a professional level tan by any means. I've done a few of them so far. All it does pretty much is keep the hair on. It's somewhat soft and it turns to leather, but it's not super soft garment tan or a brain tan or anything like that. I just use a tanning agent that you can find in the stores. New Tan is the one I switched to. I was using the Deer Hunter and Trappers formula, but yeah, this one will be, I'm just gonna tan it. I'm gonna show you how to flesh it at the moment, and then it will be turned into a hat. I have another one at home that has been tanned and is also ready to be part of that hat. So let's get started. So first thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to flip them inside out, lay them down on your fleshing beam. This is just one I built out of some old 2x6 oak lumber. We're going to make them into a hat. So up he's going to be this one is going to actually just have the part that's going to go on top of my head along with the tail sticking behind it. So the most important thing is right back in here. Not going to worry as much about up here, but I'm still going to go through it and show you how to do it. So like I said, you got them flipped inside out on the fleshing beam, and you're going to take a fleshing knife, this one here. This is a Weeby, I don't know, Elite fleshing knife. It's got sharp on the one side, and it's not as sharp on the other side. You want the sharp side, especially for right back between the shoulders here, because that is going to be the hardest spot to flesh on a raccoon. And played around with it a little bit. Just kind of lean into it, keeps them sitting still. Tilt your knife. I've tried at first. The first way I learned was kind of hold it more straight up and kind of work it down. I don't like that as much after I played around with a couple different ways. I found if you lay it a little bit flatter, going kind of with it, it seems to work better for me. Play around with whatever you want. It takes a lot of practice. I'm not that great at it, but I'm going to show you how to do it anyway. So what you want to do, you just want to get a nice slicing motion, kind of slice, I guess. Takes more pressure than you'd expect. It's a lot easier to do with a nice sharp knife. But I like to keep it at an angle, kind of going down and just kind of slice, kind of work it down. I start between the shoulders. You can probably start wherever you want, but this is just kind of easier for me to consider. Like the home base on here is just keeping it between the shoulders. Make sure your raccoon isn't frozen solid, because it's not going to work so well. It works better temperature wise if you're working in about between 40 and 60 degrees. About refrigerator temperature seems to keep it pretty good. Takes a while. Every time I do it, I have to I don't do it often enough to memorize the exact technique, so I kind of have to play around with it a little bit every time to get it how I want it to go. Keep working it down till you get about, I like to work it till I get about just behind the shoulders. You can see the arms here. I work it down till it's about there, all the way around, and then I will start working down the rest of it with the duller side of the knife. But for now I'm keeping on the sharp side of the knife, which is usually the curved part of it. Like I said, keep the blade a little bit flatter. Seems to work better for me. Play around with it, see what works for you. Make sure you keep your blade clean as you can. I forgot paper towels, but maybe there's some around here somewhere. There's a lot of hard stuff to get off of there. See, we're just keeping, see, you can see on the back side here a little bit more. That's the type of thing you want to see there. And back there, down here, you can see it's got a little more of that connective tissue and fat stuck on there. We want to get that off. So I'm going to take, like I said, the sharp side of the knife, and I'm just kind of going to peel that down. Goes pretty good once you get the hang of it. It's a little tricky. And then once you get that down between the shoulder blades, then it goes a lot easier from there. Like I said, I'm just flipping it around on the beam here. Just working it down as best I can. Like I said, on this one, I am going to try and turn it into a hat, so I don't have to be as fussy on the lower side. All I really need for the hat, I'll flip it back to the back side, is going to be down the lower portion down here and the tail. Make sure before you do this too that you get a nice piece of cardboard on the ground or a piece of old plywood, or do it outside completely, because it's really kind of gross once it really gets going. These things are really oily, so they'll drop all kinds of fat and grease and whatnot all on the ground, and that's nasty to clean up. Now I'm down, for the most part. I still got to keep working back up in there a little bit. For the most part, I am down kind of below the shoulders. So then I can flip it around to the dull side of the knife and just pretty much just push it straight down. I have a bad habit of not doing this, but try to keep where you're working right up on the main section of here. It seems to work better, at least on this. This is homemade, so it's not perfectly round. There's some stuck on spots, just flip your knife around, work it with the sharp edge for a second. Usually comes off. This whole process works best with some newer, fresher hides. It's not as easy to do when they're older. just keep rotating it evenly all the way around until you get most of this junk off of there. Seems to get a little tricky, usually down by the base of the tail, back down in there, because it just seems to stick there again, kind of like it does on the in between the shoulders. I'm using my sharp side of the blade a little bit down here. Be careful, because it's easier to rip down and cut a hole in it down here than it is up by the shoulders. This is just a little softer and more pliable. Alright, I got them pretty much fleshed out. I had some issues with the tail. I did end up taking a knife, a really sharp knife. Actually, this guy right here. Just got one of them little scalp pull blades. This one is a Weeby. Like I said, I don't know how exactly I'd pronounce it. Pretty much the same as like a Havalon type. It'll use the Havalon blades and stuff like that. Super nice for this type of thing. They're razor sharp. This worked good. But I ended up taking that on the tail. The ways it's not great, but it should work, and I will, after it's in the pickle bath, I will probably work on trying to just clean that up a little bit more, and everywhere else on it too, like up. Well, that's right. This one doesn't even need much except for down there. I'll probably play around with it a little bit more after it is done, or about halfway through the pickle, which is the next step in the tanning process. And then it goes, after you pull it out of the pickle bath, and then you put it in a neutralizing bucket, which is just water with some baking soda. Let that sit for 10 minutes, and then once you're done with that, let it dry, and then you can put your tanning solution on it. Again, that is not a professional type of thing. I don't do this for a living at all. This is just kind of a hobby, but it does seem to keep the hair on and do what I need it to do. It works great to just hang it on the wall. This one, like I said, I'm going to make it into a hat, so I'm mostly focusing down there. Is the most important part for me. Focusing down there. But yeah, that's about it.